My beloved child, there is a truth moving around you quietly, like a whisper that everyone can hear except you. People notice the pauses, the stolen glances, the sudden silence when your name appears. They feel the tension in the room, the unspoken emotion hanging in the air. Everyone knows something powerful is hidden, and tonight, that silence begins to crack. Amen. 111. Listen carefully, because this is not ordinary affection. This is the kind of love that rearranges thoughts, changes routines, and forces someone to fight themselves every single day. This person has rehearsed conversations with you that never happened, imagined endings that were never allowed to begin. The shocking part is not the love itself, it is how long it has been hidden in plain sight. Amen. 222. You were never meant to see it early. The universe delayed your awareness for a reason. While others could read the signs easily, your heart was protected from confusion, from distraction, from emotional chaos. What looks like distance was actually control. What felt like coldness was fear. And what appeared as indifference was the loudest form of love trying not to explode. Amen. 333. This person knows that once you see the truth, everything changes. That is why they stayed quiet. That is why they watched from a distance while everyone else whispered. They know your presence carries weight. They know one honest moment with you could collapse years of restraint. This is not coincidence, this is timing being forced into place. Amen. 444. Here is the shocking reason no one tells you directly: they are terrified of losing you completely if they speak too soon. They believe silence is safer than rejection. They believe distance is protection. They chose pain over risk, not because they are weak, but because the feeling is deeper than logic allows them to handle. Amen. 555. Right now, something is shifting. The energy around this connection is tightening. Small signs will grow louder. Accidental encounters will no longer be accidental. Messages will carry weight. And if you are paying attention, you will feel it before you understand it. Remember these words: something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. This is only the beginning. The truth has been circling you for a long time, and now it is stepping closer. What everyone else already knows is preparing to reach you in a way you cannot ignore. Stay present. Stay aware. Because once your eyes open to this love, there will be no going back to how things were before. Amen. 777. Hear this slowly, because what I am about to reveal changes how you see every past moment. The love you missed was not silent by accident, it was hidden by strategy. This person studied your reactions, your wounds, your past disappointments, and decided to wait rather than rush and ruin everything. That decision shocked everyone around them, because it went against their own heart. Amen. 111. Every time someone hinted at their feelings, this person shut it down. Not because it was false, but because they were afraid the truth would reach you before the right moment. They watched others come close to you, knowing they loved you more than anyone else ever could. That pain became their daily companion, yet they carried it willingly. Amen. 222. Here is what most people don't understand: this love is disciplined. It is controlled. It is restrained on purpose. They chose patience over pleasure, silence over confession, and distance over comfort. That level of control is rare, and it exists only when the feeling is real beyond doubt. Amen. 333. If this message is touching you deeply, don't ignore it. Pause for a second. Let these words sink in. Stay connected to this message, because what comes next depends on your awareness. When truth starts revealing itself, only those who stay till the end receive the full picture. Amen. 444. Soon, conversations around you will shift. Someone may mention this person casually. A memory may resurface suddenly. A name might repeat in your mind without reason. These are not random events. These are signals aligning, pushing you closer to realizing what was always meant for you. Amen. 555. This is the moment many people stop listening, and that is why they miss everything. Don't be one of them. Stay present with this message, stay aligned with what is unfolding, because the universe rewards those who don't walk away just before the reveal. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. What you are discovering now is only a layer. The real shock. The reason behind years of silence, the trigger that will force this person to finally step forward, is approaching faster than you think. When it happens, you will understand why you were the last to know, and why it had to be this way. Amen. 777. Pay attention now, because this is where everything tightens. There was a moment in the past when this person almost spoke the truth, but something stopped them. One small sign from you, one misunderstood reaction, convinced them that silence was safer than honesty. From that moment on, they locked their feelings behind discipline and pride. Amen. 111. What shocked everyone around them was how deeply this decision changed them. Their energy shifted. Their focus narrowed. They became more guarded, more intense, more distant. People sensed something heavy in their presence, but no one could trace it back to love, except those who truly observed. Amen. 222. You may not realize this yet, but you have already felt the echo of their emotions. Sudden thoughts of them. A strange pull without explanation. Moments when their absence felt louder than anyone else's presence. That was not imagination. That was suppressed emotion trying to reach you without words. Amen. 333. This person believes that once you see them differently, there is no return. That fear kept them frozen. They did not want to become a complication in your life. They wanted to be certainty. So they waited, even when waiting hurt more than speaking would have. Amen. 444. Right now, the pressure inside them is reaching its limit. Silence is no longer peaceful, it is heavy. The world around them is pushing for release. Events are aligning, forcing proximity, forcing honesty, forcing choice. This phase cannot last much longer. Amen. 555. If you are still listening, it means you are meant to hear this part. Most people walk away before the truth forms. Stay with it. Stay open. Because the closer you get to awareness, the stronger the pull becomes. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. Very soon, you will notice a change you cannot explain. Their behavior will shift. Their words will carry weight. Their presence will feel different. That is when you will realize, the love was never absent. It was preparing for the exact moment you were ready to see it. Amen. 777. This is the phase where truth stops hiding. What shocked everyone was not just the depth of this love, but the sacrifice behind it. This person chose to stand in emotional fire just to keep you safe from confusion. They watched you grow, change, struggle, and shine, while swallowing feelings that could have changed everything too early. Amen. 111. They convinced themselves that loving you silently was nobler than risking the wrong timing. That belief shaped their entire reality. While others expressed freely, this person restrained everything. Their silence became their promise: when the moment comes, it will be real, undeniable, and irreversible. Amen. 222. You were protected from half-truths, from mixed signals, from emotional games. That is why you didn't see it. Love that waits does not shout, it builds. And now, the foundation they laid in silence is strong enough to hold the truth when it finally arrives. Amen. 333. There is something important happening now. The mask is slipping. The discipline is cracking. They can no longer pretend nothing exists when everything inside them is screaming your name. External circumstances are forcing them closer, narrowing the distance they once used as a shield. Amen. 444. This is where most people feel it before they understand it. A shift in energy. A heaviness mixed with clarity. A sense that something unfinished is moving toward completion. This is not emotional noise, it is alignment. Timing is no longer on pause. Amen. 555. If these words feel intense, it's because they are meant to. You are standing at the edge of awareness. Stay present. Don't rush conclusions. Let the truth come to you naturally, because once it does, it will stay forever. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. Very soon, the reason you were kept in the dark will make sense. You will realize the silence was never rejection, it was preparation. And when this love finally steps forward, it will do so with a weight that changes how you see the past, the present, and what comes next. Amen. 777. Now the final layer begins to unfold. This is the part where understanding replaces confusion. The love surrounding you was never meant to distract you from your path. It was meant to meet you after you became strong enough to hold it. That is why the truth waited. That is why you were the last to know. Amen. 111. This person has reached the point where silence feels heavier than fear. The emotions they buried are rising, demanding to be acknowledged. They no longer want to hide behind patience or timing. Something inside them knows that if they wait any longer, the opportunity may disappear forever. Amen. 222. You may notice them becoming restless, unusually attentive, or suddenly distant again. These are not contradictions, they are signs of an internal battle ending. The wall they built to protect both of you is beginning to collapse under its own weight. Amen. 333. What shocks most people is this: the moment you become aware, everything accelerates. Truth does not move slowly once revealed. It rearranges conversations, priorities, and intentions all at once. That is why the universe delayed your awareness until now. Amen. 444. You are being guided to observe, not react. To feel, not rush. This connection carries consequences. Not negative ones, but powerful ones. Once acknowledged, it cannot return to silence. That is why this phase feels intense, almost electric. Amen. 555. Stay with this message. Stay aware of your surroundings, your thoughts, your sudden realizations. You are closer than ever to understanding what everyone else already sensed. And remember this clearly, something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. What comes next is not a question of if, but how. When the truth reaches you fully, it will feel familiar, not surprising. Because deep down, a part of you has always known, this love was never absent. It was simply waiting for the right moment to be seen. Amen. 777. This is the moment where clarity begins to outweigh doubt. The truth you are approaching is not dramatic for noise, it is powerful because it is calm, deliberate, and undeniable. This person is no longer questioning their feelings. They are questioning how much longer they can carry them alone. Amen. 111. They have reached a silent decision point. Not spoken aloud, not shared with anyone, but fixed internally. The waiting phase is ending. The internal debate is settling. And when someone reaches this stage, their actions start changing before their words ever do. Amen. 222. You may sense it first as a shift in atmosphere. Conversations feel different. Eye contact lasts longer. Silence feels charged instead of empty. These are not accidents. These are signs of truth preparing to surface in the safest way possible. Amen. 333. What makes this shocking is not that they love you, it is that they chose endurance over expression for so long. Few people can love quietly without becoming bitter. This person never did. That alone tells you how real this connection is. Amen. 444. Right now, you are being positioned. Not pushed, not forced, positioned. Awareness is being activated gently so that when the moment arrives, you are steady enough to receive it without fear or confusion. Amen. 555. Do not rush this phase. Do not dismiss the signs. Stay present with what you feel rather than what you assume. You are closer than ever, and this closeness is intentional. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. The next step will not come with chaos. It will come with certainty. When this person finally steps forward, whether through words, actions, or undeniable presence, you will understand why the silence existed, and why it had to end exactly now. Amen. 777. This is where the truth prepares to land. Not loudly. Not suddenly. But with a weight that cannot be ignored. The connection you are standing in now has crossed the point of return. Silence has done its work, and it can no longer hold what has grown this strong. Amen. 111. This person is no longer hiding from their feelings. They are protecting the moment of reveal. They want the truth to reach you when it can be received fully, not halfway. That care is rare. That patience is intentional. Amen. 222. You may feel an unfamiliar calm mixed with anticipation. That is alignment. When love has been waiting this long, it does not arrive with chaos, it arrives with certainty. Pay attention to how grounded this feels compared to past experiences. Amen. 333. What everyone else sensed before you was not drama. It was inevitability. They saw how often this person chose you in small, invisible ways. They recognized devotion without declaration. You were spared that awareness until now for a reason. Amen. 444. The closer this moment gets, the more natural it will feel. Not overwhelming. Not confusing. Just right. That is how you know this was never about timing alone, it was about readiness on both sides. Amen. 555. Stay open. Stay observant. Do not overthink what begins to unfold. The universe does not rush what is meant to stay. And remember clearly, something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. When the truth finally stands in front of you, you will not ask why it took so long. You will understand. Because some loves are not meant to be discovered early, they are meant to be revealed when they can last. Amen. 777. This is the point where realization becomes personal. What once felt like background noise now feels directed. The truth is no longer floating around you. It is moving toward you. And when awareness reaches this stage, nothing stays hidden for long. Amen. 111. This person has begun to accept that love kept in silence still demands an ending. Either it transforms into truth, or it fades, and they are no longer willing to let it fade. That decision alone shifts everything around you. Amen. 222. You may notice signs that feel almost intentional. Timing that feels too precise. Moments that seem arranged rather than accidental. This is not imagination. This is alignment pulling two realities into the same space. Amen. 333. What shocks most people is how calm this feels compared to the buildup. That calm is confirmation. Chaos belongs to uncertainty, clarity feels steady. This is how you know the connection you are approaching is real. Amen. 444. There is no need to force anything now. Awareness has already done its work. Truth moves on its own when the moment is correct. All you are being asked to do is remain present and receptive. Amen. 555. If you are still here, it means this message was meant to reach you. Most people exit before the understanding settles. Stay. Feel. Observe. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. 666. When the final moment comes, it will not feel like a surprise, it will feel like recognition. As if something long known finally stepped into the light. And in that moment, you will realize why you were protected from knowing too soon. Amen. 777. This is where the weight of truth finally settles into certainty. Not everything arrives with noise. Some revelations arrive with silence so loud it changes how you breathe. What is approaching you now has been shaped by time, restraint, and intention. Amen. 111. The reason everyone knew before you is simple but shocking. This love was visible in actions, not words. People saw consistency. They saw loyalty without reward. They saw someone choose you repeatedly without claiming you. That kind of devotion leaves fingerprints everywhere. Amen. 222. You were protected from knowing because knowing too early would have altered your choices. You needed freedom to grow without expectation, without pressure, without obligation. Awareness was delayed so that when it arrived, it would arrive clean. Amen. 333.